Hey everybody, Jason McCumsey coming to you from the Shed with Redbeard Rebuilding. I wanted to go over a little bit here with the Purple Project. We're using two different epoxies from the same company. There's a little bit of difference between what they can handle. Uh, I'm not sure if we're really just going overboard on how much they can handle, and just playing it safe because I'm not entirely sure on how much pressure and things are because you're putting down force and then the wiggle of the javelin as it's going through the air isn't. I don't know if anybody's ever measured it. I have no idea. Uh, so I don't know really how much force is getting put into one of these things and how much. So you probably have down force when you throw it because that's the initial part of the jab, a jab throw, and you see the first wiggle of it, and you're going to have everything else until it finally flies straight and true. And each one of those times obviously has its own, pressures and and everything like that going through the air, and Lord knows what those are. So we're kind of just winging this. Um, the, the standard one that I use, and I use this on just about anything I need adhesives on, is your standard JB Weld, and that handles, hold on, 6,220 psi. Now, that can range in different ways and how it's being pushed on the product and things like that. So, what exactly that works out as on a javelin, I don't know. So, this, like I said, this is a little bit of winging it, a little bit of playing it by ear, and my bandana is really far off. Now, the other one that we tried is also JB Weld uh, epoxy, and they both have the same dry times. They both have the same cure times, set times, color. All of it's the same, and they call it steel reinforced putty or epoxy putty. Steel reinforced epoxy putty. It says it there. Um, Now the other one that I used this time was this one, which is obviously a little two-part. The cap comes off, you squeeze it out and mix it together. Um, and that one only has 5,020 psi for its max abilities. Um, so we're gonna just kind of see what happens. That one goes for something else. So, um, for this stuff here, if you go by what it says on the thing here, great for interior, exterior, gap filling, metals, concrete and stone, ceramic, fiberglass, wood, more, and more. It can be used for whatever you want it to be. Um, the only real difference in the product that I can tell by being a user of the product is that this one is smoother. It's more of a glue, more of an epoxy. Um, when you mix this together, you pull it out and you push it out of here, it comes out just like almost like Elmer's glue in a way, and you just mix the hardener and the epoxy, epoxy together. When you go and use this one, this one seems more of a paste. It's more viscous, I guess to say. It's a lot. It's definitely a thicker product, which in a way makes sense of why it would be with the max of 6,220. So, uh, as you can tell here, whoa, that was a dumb idea. It's still wet. uh, that's okay. Um, so my thought is we're at least gonna do 2 coats of this stuff, and then we'll see how it goes. The first one is just to get something on there, which is now that it has fingerprints in it. You have this one here. This one I used this guy which is the 5020. And then, oh wait, excuse me. Yeah, I had that right. This one here is the thicker of the two, and that's still going. It's definitely going to take a day or two to cure because it's going to get cold here tonight. I'm going to say colder. So I want to leave that go for a day or two. I got practice tomorrow. I'm going to meet on Tuesday. So it's going to sit in here. I don't really have the time to come and work on it. So we're just going to kind of leave it go, let it cure. Then we're going to sand it. And from there, we're going to put another coat on top of that, and then just kind of sand it smooth. The first one, we're going to sand and make sure it's filling all the gaps. You know, you don't want any air holes, you don't want anything like that. So that's why we're going to use kind of like belt sandpaper. It's kind of like this stuff here, where it's loose. You can go around and you can get curved edges and stuff like that. So you can get that working that way, and sand down until we reach the metal, and that will show us all the gaps that it's filling. And then on top of that, we're going to try to make it as smooth as humanly possible. We might go a little overboard on how thick we go, just that way we got more to sand and more to work with. Right now, like I said, we're just trying to fill gaps, fill holes, that sort of thing. You do have those two holes that we had in each shaft, one on each side. On the one, I put it's more of like a napkin paper towel idea over top of the hole, and we're trying that way. On the other one, I just covered it with a piece of tape, and we're going from there. So my first idea was to use fiberglass and well, not epoxy, but fiberglass and this type of epoxy. The fiberglass and resin definitely wouldn't hold up on the flex. It would break. I know that much already. But the fiberglass would have been a great reinforcement, but it would have caused everything to be a lot thicker. It's great to use fiberglass when you have a much, let's just say, runnier, a more liquidy type of glue like the resin is that you use for cars, when you're using epoxy like that, or when you're using fiberglass like that, because you want the glue to get into all the fibers. You want it to absorb it, and everything, holds it together, which wouldn't really work with as thick as this stuff is. You would really just have a layer of glue, a layer of the fiberglass mat, and then another layer of glue. It wouldn't seep into each other without having some sort of pressure, which, in this case, we don't have anything like that, so we can't do it. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're at a stopping point. We're going to sand it, and then we're going to put another coat on it and put some grips on it. There's spots on here that obviously that I showed you do have other areas of the corrosion. I am going to go to those specific spots and sand it, and then throw on just some primer or something like that, just to figure out where we're at, put the handles on them and throw them. And then once we get to a certain point where I'm confident nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to break, and we take everything apart, and there's no cracks in the epoxy, there's no anything like that, then we're going to go gung-ho and paint them. But until that point, that's what we got. So stay safe, throw far, take care of yourselves, take care of each other.